Chapter 19. Sebastian quickly hugged him from behind. "Let me go," Lillian begged. Her resistance did nothing as Sebastian pressed her against the sofa. "No, I'm begging you," she cried. "I can compromise on anything, but not like this," Sebastian said emphatically. "Women will follow, but not all the time." It was unacceptable for him that he could not touch her. "I'm pregnant." Lillian used her ace in desperation. Sebastian stopped before his anger intensified. "Lillian, I understand now why you rushed to get married. You're just shifting the responsibility to me." "What are you talking about? You're the only one I've been with. The boy is yours," Lillian answered while pushing Sebastian in annoyance. "Are you really pregnant? Have you been to the hospital for a checkup?" Sebastian asked. "I didn't go to the hospital. I bought a pregnancy test at the pharmacy," Lillian said coldly. "Come on. Let me check your pulse," Sebastian offered. Lillian did not refuse. He knew Sebastian was good at medicine. After looking at his pulse, Sebastian realized something. Lillian is not pregnant. He was only suffering from symptoms of anemia and hormonal imbalance, which is why there was a false positive in his test. "All right, for now, don't eat spicy and greasy food," Sebastian advised. Then quickly turned away as he struggled to hold back his laughter. As they were leaving for the pharmacy, Lillian's phone rang. He looked at it and did not answer the call. "Who is that? Why didn't you answer?" Sebastian asked in surprise. Lillian hesitated before answering honestly, "My mom. I think I should tell you the truth. Steven's family is at my house. He came to propose to me. My grandfather agreed to it. And my parents." Sebastian pretended that he suddenly realized something. "Ah, you're just using me so you can't marry her? That's why you rushed to marry me. If you're sorry, we can get a divorce," suggested Lillian. "Why should I regret it, especially since you are carrying my child?" Sebastian said while holding back his laughter. Suddenly, Evelyn called again. Lillian was about to decline the call. But Sebastian stopped. "Answer me. I'll go with you. We also have to deal with it. Maybe my parents will torture you and maybe my grandfather won't protect you either. Maybe the Harrises will be your enemies too." "Are you sure?" Lillian asked with a worried tone. Sebastian grinned. "I'm not really afraid of shadow tigers, people. You think I'd be afraid of them?" Feeling relieved, Lillian decided to answer the call. When the call connected, Evelyn's voice was audible. "You've been in the hospital for a long time. Why haven't you come home yet?" Lillian used the excuse that she felt bad to leave the house. "I'm on my way home," Lillian said before hanging up. Sebastian drove and took Lillian to the Smith residence. The Smiths and the Harrises were happily talking about the preparations for the engagement when they arrived. Steven's face lit up when he saw Lillian's return, but it stiffened the moment he noticed Sebastian following behind him. Evelyn also saw Sebastian and her eyes widened. "Lillian, why did you bring him here?" Lillian gathered her courage and spoke. "Grandpa, Dad, Mom, I have something important to announce." "What is that?" Evelyn asked nervously. Lillian suddenly came closer to Sebastian's arm and the two families were silent about what she did. "We are married," he declared and surprised everyone there. "What nonsense is this?" Evelyn quickly turned to Steven's family. "Don't pay attention to him. He's just making an excuse because he's not ready to get married. So he brought this man here to fool us." "I don't believe what he said," Lynette said with a smile. Then, he turned to Lillian and added, "Lillian, I understand that young people are in no rush to get married these days, but you don't have to bring him here to do this show. Right now we're just talking about your engagement to Steven. Next time we'll think about the details of the wedding." Chapter 20. We're not pretending. "We just got married," said Lillian. "Do you expect us to believe that?" Evelyn didn't really believe it. Lillian did not explain further. He took the marriage certificate from his bag. "Look at it." As everyone looked at the marriage certificate, their smiles stiffened again. A bad feeling crept into Evelyn's heart. He quickly opened the certificate and couldn't deny the fact that it was staring at him. You're a passionate woman. How did you manage to run off and marry a stranger without saying a word? Evelyn shook with anger as her fingers itched to tear the certificate. Ronan quickly intervened. Don't tear it. We need it for the divorce. Lillian, you are smart. How did you become so stupid now? Elijah was also angry. He originally planned to marry Lillian to Sebastian, but after what happened yesterday, he changed his mind. Even if Sebastian was angry that the Lisbons were Cadwells, his anger at Shadow Tiger was a different matter. From his understanding of Shadow Tiger, Elijah knew that Andrew would not let everything go that easily. Sebastian wasn't sure if he would live another day, and Elijah didn't want to get his family into trouble. The faces of the Harrises, especially Stephen, were serious. His eyes burned with anger. Evelyn felt a mixture of anger and shame. Mr. and Mrs. Harris, don't be angry. I'll make sure they don't get a divorce right away. What's the point of divorce? Even if they do that, it's still a second marriage. Lynette snorted. Evelyn smiled quickly. They just got married. The marriage certificate is just paper. He hasn't been touched yet. Mrs. Smith, these things are fine with me, Stephen declared, with the rest of her anger at them. Lynette stopped her loss when she saw her daughter's love for Lillian. All right, if you can make sure they get divorced right away, we won't hold a grudge against you. That's for sure, said Evelyn. Then tossed the marriage certificate to Lillian. What are you waiting for? Get a divorce. Lillian shook her head. I will not divorce him. When you think to say no, I will no longer consider you a child. Evelyn's face turned red with anger as she almost screamed. Elijah's expression darkened. If you still think of me as your grandfather, get a divorce immediately. Lillian fought to hold back her tears and her voice shook as she begged, Grandpa, Dad, Mom, please. I'm begging you, don't force me anymore. I can't divorce her, especially now that I'm carrying his son. What? The whole room shook at Lillian's words and everyone there stopped. It's not possible. It's impossible. I don't believe it. Stephen couldn't hold back his anger. He was already angry at the news that Lillian and Sebastian got married. But now, when they were probably together and they were going to have a child, he was filled with a feeling of betrayal that was so intense that the waning anger inside him came to life. Evelyn shook with anger as she pointed at Lillian. Do you want me to die early? How could a young lady like you say such a thing? Your mother is right. How can you make up a lie? Ronan sneered in annoyance. I'm not making up stories. Everything I said is true. If you don't believe me, we can go to the hospital, Lillian said calmly. Since the truth has come out, he will also clarify everything. When did this happen? How did we not know? Evelyn asked in disbelief. That doesn't matter anymore. Everything that needs to be said has been said, Lillian said firmly. I will kill you. Ronan could no longer bear the anger that boiled inside him. He raised his hand to slap Lillian's beautiful face hard. Lillian closed her eyes in fear. As Ronan's hand was about to land, a hand grabbed his wrist. It was Sebastian. Lillian is his wife now and he can't just watch. Let me go. I will discipline my son. Don't interfere. Ronan shouted angrily.